Okay, here we go. Good evening, citizens. I'm Devoid. Over there to my left is my dad, Revatheus, and we have a guest today. We have Altiar here, member of our org, the Pyro Freelancer Corps, and this is Redacted, a live podcast where we talk about Star Citizen and its development.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the massive elephant in the room, Invictus Launch Week. So far we've had RSI out on the floor. I guess today it started Aegis out on the floor. We've had an opportunity to see some new ships, to do tours of the Idris, to get some of the new gameplay. So plenty to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. So just kind of getting right into it. I've got the schedule up here. If Rev, you want to show them.
Okay.
Invictus Launch Week is sort of like a 1 to 2 week. I guess it's closer to 2 week event where they kind of showcase all of the different ships. It's like military focused. They hit it off with kind of a bang. We talked about it when we were live last week. The RSI Polaris kind of stole the show. Did either of you guys get a chance to check those out?
I couldn't stop myself. I've been looking at that ship since it was first like concepted, and
Yeah. Yes, Falcon Rev is my dad. Yeah, the Polaris.
His whole life.
We talked a little bit about it last week. Polaris. Said it before. I will keep saying it. The Polaris is going to be massively popular. I think it's going to be like the number one capital, subcapital, Corvette, whatever you want to call it. The number one capital class ship that most orgs are going to run. It's going to be the best size, utilize the least number of people, and be the most effective, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's fucking massive. I've only seen it from the outside, walking around underneath it, but holy shit, that thing's big. And with the hangar bay in it, I think you're right.
I mean, did any of you manage to actually catch it flying by Benji Point?
No, I haven't seen anything flying around yet.
I actually managed to get a hammerhead next to it, and my god, you looking at the hammerhead compared to it, you just feel tiny.
That's good.
So it's
That's
like
good.
you look at it, it's like, wow. How is this going to handle? Like, the hammer already feels unwieldy in the new flight model.
It's a big ass ship. It's supposed to be unwieldy. The Polaris is a capital class torpedo boat, as far as I understand. Is that correct?
Yes, capital class. I think it was spotted as tip of the spear type ship.
Yeah. So it's not going to be something that you're taking into the heart of your combat situation. It's going to be something that is going to shoot big ass torpedoes, probably from a long ways away. It does have a huge hangar in it. I guess in my head, I always imagined it was designed for a Scorpius. I heard recently, and I don't know how true this is. I don't actually believe it. That the hangar is supposed to be able to fit a folded up Corsair. Has anybody else seen this?
I do not believe that for a moment.
Yeah,
I don't either.
Yeah, they said they did say the height is like XS, so I don't think a folded up Corsair. I don't think even an Arrow would fit in folded up.
Yeah, because the Arrow folds the wings up and it gets tall.
Yeah, and like that would be. Dev said it could have the same like height clearance as the Carrack. So
yeah. So good. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's skeptical about that. Phaedron says, I think someone got the cutter confused with the Corsair. I think you're exactly
maybe.
I think the cutter would definitely fit in there. Corsair, not a chance.
I'd be pretty happy if they let the Saber in there. If the Saber will fit.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
From
the Scorpius is supposed to fit.
From the concept photo they showed, I think you might be able to get like 3 Gladiuses in there if you park a nose to nose.
Seems tight.
That would be really tight, though.
That seems tight.
And just break the wings. Yeah, Saber will fit. Yeah. Anyway, it's not a huge hangar bay, but it's enough for a smaller medium fighter, which I think is going to be enough. Considering the crew for this thing is going to be what, half a dozen dudes plus a fighter pilot.
6.
You know, it's
like 6, 7 for skeleton, and they said like what 12, 13 for max crew.
I guess we'll see, right? We'll have to see. I know that we've got engineering coming soon. We'll talk a little bit about that later, and I think that's going to change the dynamic of what these crew sizes will be looking like. But we'll get there. Beyond that, there was Origin, Consolidated, Outland, Argo was all part of that first day, but they pretty much got overshadowed. As far as the 890 hangar, probably be
I would say smaller because the hangar door doesn't
smaller, I
actually
think.
Yeah, because the hangar door opens up outwards instead of and like folds outwards instead of going down. So it's going to be slightly smaller than it actually looks.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be actually that big. Day 2, Misk, Mirai, Crusader, Tumbrel. I know that we already talked about this, but the Mirai Pulse did come out. Was a straight to flyable kind of bike. Oh, look at that. Phaedron shared a link here. Comparative stats Polaris versus 890. I might have to take a look at that here later. But the Mirai Pulse, new hover bike. Have you guys had a chance to fly that thing?
I've used it a little bit when going through bunkers. If the bunker has like been locked down and I've been trying to help someone through a medevac, it can be used to get into a bunker pretty easily and then drop down without dying. But beyond that, I found the Nox is just the better for pure speed. But the Pulse is good if you can't fit a Nox.
I haven't flown the Pulse at all yet. For those of you who know me, I'm a whore for Drake, and I'm kind of a purist. And I just I fly the Dragonfly, and I have this ridiculous refusal to fly pretty much anything else. So I haven't flown it yet. Then first time I do, it'll probably be because I killed the rider and took the bike to escape my situation. That happens fairly frequently.
Yeah, that's a good
one. But I've heard good things. I've heard that it's a really good size. It's very small, so it fits in a lot of places.
Yeah, I think I managed to squeeze one into a Titan.
Yeah, I think Rev had one in his Redeemer.
Yeah, I did. with room to spare.
So it's also very sporty looking. I will say that I like the way it looks. I like the liveries that come on it. Very Mirai. Mirai is definitely establishing that it's squeezed into an Aurora cabin. Holy shit. I think Mirai is definitely establishing that race car look with the Mirai liveries on a lot of their new ships. So as a motorsport enthusiast IRL, I like that. I like seeing
it is a performance brand.
Yeah, so. It is. It is indeed. Today is an important day for Invictus Launch Week. It's Aegis Day. The reason that's so important for Invictus Launch Week is because Aegis holds a lot of military contracts. So this is kind of like a highlighted manufacturer for ILW. I was disappointed. I lost track of time. I was hoping to see the Polaris, and today's the first day I've been in since ILW has started. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go look at the Polaris. Fucking 3 days ago.
You did miss out. It is obnoxiously large.
Looking at the size of Connie.
Yeah, it took up the entire front to back of that main hall.
Yeah.
Like you walk in, you get like just inside, you're looking up at the Polaris. You get all the way to the back wall, and it's like it's up in your face. You're like, Jesus.
Yeah. My point is I walked in today and I was like, oh, let's go check out the Polaris. And then it was just like Aegis. And I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Where is it? But yeah, Aegis is dominating the expo hall right now. And I thought for sure, you know how sometimes they're maybe they do this for IAE, but it has like a manufacturer in the hall. And then as it rotates, it'll put that manufacturer in a different hall, and the main hall will be the next manufacturer. And it just like keeps rotating them. I thought, oh, maybe this hall will be a different manufacturer. This hall will be a different one. And it was just Aegis in all 4 halls. So.
Yeah, well, I think with Aegis, they typically do that because Aegis has so much to offer.
So many goddamn ships.
Right. Yeah. So they'll put those other manufacturers when they've got like a manufacturer that doesn't have a whole heck of a lot, like Misk. I mean, Misk doesn't have tons and tons of stuff. So it'll be in the hall with like other manufacturers.
Right. 23rd, 2 days from now, Anvil Aerospace. It's kind of the other one that's sort of getting really highlighted here for ILW because they've also got a lot of military contracts, or used to. I think they've kind of migrated. Anvil used to be the big player. Now it's Aegis, if I'm remembering my lore correctly, Anvil we're going to be seeing.
I think it's the other way around. Aegis
Yeah, I
was the
think,
historic
yeah, it
one,
was-
and Anvil is the more recent
Yeah,
contract.
because
Oh, is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
because it was the Aegis Titan was the original like fighter that the military used, and that got phased out for Anvil.
You got the Aegis Gladius. You got the
Right.
The,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Avenger
I'm definitely
Titans,
getting
you
those
got-
back up. Yeah.
And
Okay.
those
So
being
Anvil
phased
is
out.
newer. So we've got the Carrick. We're gonna see the F7A on the floor. So if you haven't flown the F7A yet, if you don't subscribe, or if you haven't done the overdrive missions to completion and haven't had a chance to fly it, you're gonna get your chance to fly the new F7A Mark II. So get ready for that. I haven't flown it yet, but I've heard good things. I don't know how it kind of. I think overdrive is actually still going because I saw. No, it's Xenothreat that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Yes, overdrive is over. So if you missed out on overdrive and you don't have access to the F7A, then you will be able to fly it tomorrow
I
on the 23rd and
I
24th.
think if you still have it, it's available because I've been having mine level 5 pop up today. But
So if you completed overdrive prior to 323 dropping,
Yeah.
then 323 pops. There's a mission there. It's an overdrive mission. You just accept it. And they haven't shut off the older ones. Good to know. I haven't looked because I completed them.
Yeah, all I know is that when I logged in after this last patch, or that after Invictus, it just gave me the mission to give you the upgrade.
Right. Yeah. That's what I got, and I accepted it.
Yeah.
But again, being a Drake simp, I still haven't gotten the Anvil, and I probably
you
won't.
should. It is
won't.
actually really fun. It's really fun to fly.
Yeah, you were flying the Firebird earlier, and you're like, "Oh, you should consider getting this ship." I'm like,
I
won't.
didn't say that. I said you should try the ship. Didn't say get it.
Well.
Yeah, I'm the Aegis guy. I love Aegis. So much
I have to
good
say,
Aegis stuff, and I actually really like the base saber quite a lot. I don't know that I care for the look of the Raven and the Firebird, but I mean I might try flying them.
I mean, the Firebird, it feels more maneuverable. Like it feels like 25 to 30% more maneuverable than the regular saber. I was flying mine out of Forreston while the Void here was getting his Corsair out. And I was able to literally just go over him, then come out from underneath him again, and it's
You're
super
you're
maneuverable.
you're comparing to a Corsair. That's
No, I mean like
I'm flying
not,
a brick house.
I've not been able to actually competently maneuver a ship in the new flight sim besides like an Arrow and Gladius.
Yeah, well,
So the fact that it actually feels maneuverable enough to be able to outmaneuver other ships in the current flight model feels really good.
well, in the new flight model, see, I'm not a fighter pilot at all, right? The Redeemer's typically as small as I like to go. So when I'm flying the Saber, I was actually in like the Arena Commander on Monday with our Monday maneuvers with Hito and shit, right? And I was successfully taking some of those guys out. I did the pirates. I did the pirate swarm mission, and I was taken out. I took out a Corsair. It was NPC, but I took out a Corsair. So
Still counts, right?
that still counts.
More streamlined powerhouse, meaning it's got like
Yeah.
better acceleration and less turn rate. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you do have to use the thrusters to turn much more, but you can get a faster turn rate if you learn how to use the thrusters.
Have you looked at the data?
It's not fully, but it is slightly less maneuverable in the data.
Oh.
But
Maybe you'll have to try. You'll have to try a saber, a base saber, and see how it flies.
I do. I used to fly the saber quite a bit, but
Have you sensed master modes though?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Just
well.
not comprehensively. It is. I would say it's
all right.
better, but I would say I wouldn't recommend getting the Firebird if you want to fight. But it's good if you want to have like a racing ship or something because it is.
Yes.
It accelerates
Don't
really
get this
fast.
fighter if you want to fight.
Yeah, it doesn't like. The base missiles are terrible. The missile since this patch is terrible as well. So I can't. I've tried a lot of missiles on the Firebird, and I've missed nearly 50% of them out of 60.
That's just missiles. Missiles suck right now.
Yeah.
They'll get there. They'll get there. May 25th. 4 days from now is going to be my favorite day, Drake Defense Con. I am so excited every year to see Drake Defense Con, even though it's the same ships every goddamn year. I love the vibes so much of the hall when they kind of take over. They have their big red carpet thing where it's just like rock music playing over the intercom. They have all their ships lined up. I'm so excited. This year is going to be special because there seems to be a Drake concept ship supposed to be announced at Drake Defense Con. I can't actually talk about it because I don't know what it's supposed to be. I have heard rumors, only rumors, that the ship is supposed to be larger than the Caterpillar, smaller than the Kraken. I guess in my head, I'm imagining a Polaris sort of competitor, which would make sense given that they just threw out the Polaris. Maybe a mini carrier. I don't know.
I think more like a mega cargo.
You think so?
Yeah, I think probably
Well,
like a really massive.
Is it like a mega cargo in the same way that the Corsair is an exploration ship?
No, I'm thinking
The
in
Corsair-
the same.
the Corsair
I'm
is
thinking in the
exploration.
same way that the Caterpillar is a cargo ship.
Well,
But maybe
rumor
not.
has it, only rumor, is that it's the Drake Marauder, which I think it could be completely fake, teased a couple years ago. Don't know. I don't know anything about it. This is purely speculation and only hearsay. We'll see later this week. But I'm very excited to see what it is.
Yeah. Well,
If it's
I
Drake,
do
I
recall
think it's going
seeing
to be
like
more than we expect.
I do recall seeing an image that looked kind of like a big blob. Kind of blobby. Not really. I mean, it's kind of ugly. It was Drakely ugly. But weird. We'll see.
We'll see.
It was like if the Caterpillar got fat.
And the Caterpillar got fat. It would be neat to see if it were like a flat top cargo ship. I think somebody described it as. It's like, oh, it's a cargo ship, but that's a carrier kind of situation.
Yeah. Just throw a bunch of Furies or Merlins on it.
Or something.
Throw
a bunch
how
of
much
something on it.
fits.
But I'm very excited. I'm very eager to see a new Drake ship every time it comes out. I mean, I got ridiculously excited when the Cutter came out and then all of its variants. So this is even more exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 27, 28, 29, that's the finale. Remind me what happens during the finale? Is that when they kind of go through and showcase everything, or
I don't know. I don't think that the anything changes on the on like the showroom floor or anything. But like all of the ships that they have for sale are all on sale.
Yeah, it's the time.
I know they're all
time
rentable
you
too.
get
There's like a
everything.
kiosk you could use to rent every ship that was on display and
It's
stuff.
where it's where they normally have like the big sale where every ship is. And
Gotcha. Are they doing the Bengal flyby this year, or is that an IAE thing?
Yeah, no, the Bengals flying by. I'm pretty
Is
sure.
it okay?
It's-
I
It's
haven't seen. I know the
the,
Polaris is flying around. I know the Idris is flying around.
The Idris, well, it might be flying around, but the Idris is also docked.
So you can tour it.
Yeah,
Yep.
the entire thing.
It's cool.
I need to get in and do that. I might actually do that tonight. We've got
Fucking-
bunker banging tonight, so we can collect gear for requisitions. But I do want to tour the Idris completely. I kind of saw a little bit of it when some of our guys got in when they did that dev event where there was the Idris with the interior that was in. Our guys had it for a short period of time, and I was watching their stream, and I got to check it out. But I have yet to actually run around and experience it myself.
Yes.
So I think I'm gonna do that tonight.
They do have a couple of guards in a couple of key locations, but not many, like one or two spots, right? And they have people in the turrets, so you can't get in the turrets. They've got NPCs in the turrets.
That makes sense. I really want to see things like the armory, the hangar, the bridge.
Yeah, and they've got NPCs in all the bridge seats that are important.
Fair enough. I mean, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. I just want to experience. I want to stand on the bridge, just kind of look around and be like, huh,
It's big.
This is
It's a
it.
big bridge.
Good.
It
It needs to be. It needs to be a big bridge. We so badly need to have a large bridge where you can experience that kind of Star Trek feel.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you get it.
Yeah.
Oh, it has that feel.
It has that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's a trek from the back of the bridge to the front of the bridge.
I love
and
that.
Like
I love that.
The front two stations. I mean, it's like several steps in between them. They're wide.
That's so good. That's good. I'm so excited to get that in a ship, and I know the Idris is close. Man, I'm gonna do that tonight. I want to make sure we get some good gear for requisitions, but we're doing that tonight. Oh, you know what? We talked about all these ships. I've got pictures of them up. We can take a look. So yeah, this is the Firebird that we talked about, the new Saber variant. It's pretty sleek, man. They used the chassis of the Raven. I know that we talked about that a little bit. There are some differences, like the Raven's got those kind of holes on the wings. These are kind of filled up with vents. I think those are intakes for the main thruster in the back.
Yep.
It takes a little bit of design from the base Saber, where it's got the kind of like flared wingtips and stuff along the back as well. But I think overall it's super good. Are the Polaris up as well? I hope that this scale is accurate, right? Because
It
I'm seeing
is.
those little guys. I'm seeing those.
It's very accurate. It's
Rev,
fucking
your
huge.
stream is fucky.
What? What do you mean my stream is fucky?
Your stream is fucky.
Yeah, we can see your desk.
Oh, wrong one.
Technical difficulties. I fucking called it.
Nah, it's just hitting the wrong button. We're good.
I hope that the scale is at least semi-accurate, because I'm seeing those little humans standing down there, and I'm just imagining like running that length, and it seems like a good size.
Yeah, on like trying to run from.
Phaedron says
one
it's
end to the
bigger.
floor with
That's
a track.
awesome. I'm excited that it's bigger. The bigger, the better, in my own opinion.
Really big.
Still smaller than the 890. That's okay. That's okay, as long as it's big enough to feel big. I want it to feel big.
Just looking at it, it feels like a capital ship.
Good. Moving on from that, what do we got? We talked the Pulse. I actually did want to talk just a little tiny bit about this particular picture. Not only do we see the Pulse here, and it's nice and beat up. This looks like a distribution center, but look at that person in the armor right there in the middle. Do you see what I'm seeing here?
Dual wielding.
Dual wielding
Oh,
fucking pistols. Look at that. Do you see that?
They need to let us do that.
I agree completely. Where is my akimbo perk? I want to play Call of Duty and dual wield Kodas. Papa. No, it's cool. I'm not sure if this is actually significant, but it would be super awesome if we could dual wield at some point. I always like to think that CIG throws in these little things just to tease us, because they know we're gonna look at it and be like, "Oh my god," without actually having said anything. But being that they haven't said anything, it may not happen. Would be cool though. Would be cool. And then lastly, the Ursa Medevac. We didn't talk about that. So we touched on it kind of last week. We have the Ursa Medevac, which is a ground vehicle. Ursa variant, obviously, it's a little ambulance. It's got a tier 3 medbed inside, and with the introduction of this, they also changed how respawning works. So we brushed on this last week. The tier 3 medbeds can respawn again. Cutlass Red owners rejoice.
within 20 kilometers.
Within 20 kilometers. They did balance it by reducing the range, limiting the range. Tier 3 beds respawn at 20 kilometers, tier 2 at 50 kilometers, and then tier 1 is supposed to be unlimited. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, tier 1 is hospitals, so it's going to happen.
You're right. Tier 1 is hospitals, but when the Apollo comes out with its tier 1 beds, we'll have to see how that works.
I think Canada might balance that would be within system.
Maybe we don't know. We don't know that, right? We'll have to see. 4.0 is around the corner, so we'll get to test that out. And being said, we're going to segue a little bit. Q3 this year, it is as official as it possibly can be. 4.0 is on the release tracker.
It is an official intention.
It is an official intention. Right. I don't want to say it's official because we've heard official things before.
Yeah,
and then they
4.0
didn't
has
happen.
been on the roadmap before, and it
Yes.
has been pulled.
Correct. Anything that goes on the roadmap is still subject to change. This is not concrete. This is just they believe they can get 4.0 out by Q3. That is their intention. That being
And
said,
in fairness, all of the items they got listed on it seem plausible.
they do. They do. I actually have the roadmap roundup up. So if we want to take a look at that really quick, I'm just going to kind of buzz through this. So this is from May 15th. This is 5 days ago is when they announced it. Happy Wednesday, everybody, for 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Notable changes for May 15th release view.
Hey, since it's so narrow, can you zoom in?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so this week's roadmap update. We're excited to announce the addition of Alpha 4.0 to release view targeting Q3 of this year. So let's talk about what 4.0 looks like. Obviously, the big items, okay, server meshing. We know about this, we know what it is, but just to touch on it, this is what is going to allow multiple servers to connect to a single replication layer and communicate to each other so that we can transfer seamlessly from one server to the next. In its first iteration, it's just going to be static. So there's going to be set servers for set regions, and you'll move in and out of them. Later on, we'll get dynamic server meshing where it will spool servers up and down depending on the server performance and what it needs. It's draw, basically.
Yep.
Moving on from that, mission system refactor. This is a little bit of a lesser talked about feature here, but it needs to be compatible with server meshing because let's say you take a mission in one server and then transfer to another server and you drop the mission. That would suck, right? So they need to make missions persist across servers.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much all of these refactors are probably at least mostly intended to deal with that shift from server to server. So
yes, exactly. Transit system refactor. I don't know what that has to do specifically with server meshing, but CIG does, and that's their job, not mine.
Well, if you imagine if they by the time they get to a point where like a planet is broken into multiple servers or certain zones on a planet, it's potentially possible that
fair enough.
The tram could have to jump a zone.
Valkian says enhance more. It's clear on my screen. I don't know why it's blurry on the stream.
It's yeah. There's not much I can do about it. There's a resolution issue coming across to my screen.
Well,
it's yeah. What you're seeing is what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is also a little blurry. So that's the best I can do. That's the other reason I wanted.
All right, guys.
To zoom
we'll
in.
play with it. We'll play with it. Anyway. Planets. So we know about all of the planets. There are 6 planets, 3 of which are named. Monox, Bloom, and Terminus. Monox is Pyro 2. That's where I'm estimating most of the dangerous mining operations are going to happen as we get into... one more zoom we should do it, you think? There's one more zoomy. Does that make it better or worse?
Neither.
Neither. Still shitty.
Just the same.
The same, but bigger.
Yeah, we can see the big words. It's good.
That's fine. Yeah. Monox Pyro 2. That's where I think most of the mining is going to happen, based on the little I know about Pyro lore. I think that's where most of it was. I mean, we'll see. Pyro 3 is going to be the most popular planet. I think that's where the breathable atmosphere is. That's where the Pyro Freelancer Corps are going to make their home. It's kind of that gray, yellowy, mossy planet. I'm excited to see it for the first time. In fact, Cyberpunk and I of the Rec Raiders have been planning our first journey into Pyro for about a year now. And for the past 2-3 months, we've been cultivating a playlist to listen to while we hit certain key points of the trip. So very, very excited. The hype is there. Pyro 4 is the outermost moon of Pyro 5. The idea here, this is kind of a cool bit of Pyro lore. I think that it was once the 4th planet, but because of its trajectory now, it's sort of like on a collision path with Pyro 5.
It got knocked out of the It was like on a close orbit with the other one, and it got knocked out and fell into orbit of the
Yeah.
Pyro 5.
Yeah. So it theorized it was a planet. Now it's technically a moon, but it's still pretty cool. I'm excited to see if you will be able to stand on like Pyro 4 and then like look up and see Pyro 5, because that would be really, really cool. You know how when you're standing on Daymar and you see Crusader up there? I'm imagining that, but like bigger and cooler. I hope
Maybe.
that's the case.
Well, I mean, it depends on how close they are to each other, right? So
Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm sure you'll be able to see it like you can see other moons.
I hope it's very close.
Yeah.
Pyro 5 is the fourth planet. Nothing significant there, I think. It's just kind of a cold, barren planet. Pyro 6 Terminus, this is where Ruin Station is. I think that's why it's named. Because this is where fucking Xeno Threat. That's who they are. They hang out around here. So place their Pyrotechnic Amalgamated place their main hub of operations in orbit around Terminus, later abandoning the station with the Lithium system. That's Ruin Station. It's talking about all the different moons here. Not hugely important. Pyro space stations, outposts, colonialism. One thing that I didn't see here that I was kind of hoping to, but they're probably one, either not sure it's going to be ready in time, or two, want to make it a surprise base building. I was kind of hoping that'd be a 4.0 release. I'm not holding my breath or anything, but it seems like that would be a good time to do it. But outposts, colonialism, a small home for AI to live and shelter. I hope that this is going to be a little bit more than what we've got in the verse right now. Not to say what we have in the verse isn't cool. It's just I want to see something bigger. I want to see actual buildings instead of like scraps of metal piled to make makeshift tents and busted ships.
I don't get the impression there's going to be a lot of like cities and stuff on any of these planets because of the nature of the Pyro system.
Sure.
And if there is anything, it's probably going to be ruins. It's going to be not great locations.
And exactly what there will be is probably going to be like more shantytown type.
Yeah, I mean,
that's still okay.
Shanty towns, that type of thing.
That's still okay. I would just like to see. I mean, this is the colonialism outposts. I know is a design language, right? Colonialism is a design language. At least that's how they're using it here. And so I expect to see buildings, but Pyro isn't the only place getting these outposts, right? We're going to see them in Stanton too. And I would like to see some slightly larger colonialism outposts in Stanton, something that's been established, maybe something that has, give me a small town that has a road flowing both ways where there's an intersection, right? And there's like a little very small town square. Yeah.
You want roads?
I want one town with two intersecting roads. If I get that and there's like at least half a dozen buildings, I will be a happy man.
Yeah, no, we need to have roads. They need to be roads between cities. They need to figure out roads.
Well, we'll get there. I think. But I would just I want there to be little towns scattered across planets that feel lived in, and don't make me think that somebody crash landed here, piled up their scrap metal, and is waiting for their fucking beacon to get discovered and picked up. Right, that's what I feel like the current places are now. It's like sheet metal stacked together with tarps, and it's not enough, you know. So I'm excited for that. Jump points, big thing. Jump points are. It's how you transfer between stations, and it's a whole thing, right? Because you don't just fly from one system to another. There's a whole thing. It's like a big deal. You have to go through the gate. You have to maneuver through it. If you fuck it up, you can die or get ejected into dead space.
Also,
it's a big fucking deal.
Also, didn't they say like with that only certain ships will be able to use the jump point that required an actual jump drive?
Yeah,
drive.
That's true.
They have said that. I don't think they've gotten too in depth so far externally about the differences between a jump drive versus a quantum drive. I don't know if
I think they've
going to be like if you.
I think they've been clear enough, right? So a quantum
Yeah.
drive and jump drive are two very different things.
Yeah,
And the jump drive is necessary to traverse
gates.
jump gates. Yeah, so there is still some wiggle room because there's going to be wormholes, right? That you can use without established jump gates, and you definitely have to have a jump drive to be able to use those. But it's I'm not sure how the jump gate plays. I know it's supposed to stabilize the wormhole. I think you're still going to have a jump gate to use a jump drive to use the jump gate, but I know it's a completely separate component.
Maybe Phaedron knows. I know it's a separate component. I just don't know if it's going to be like if your ship has a quantum drive, will it also be standardly equipped with a jump drive?
Oh, I don't think.
I hope the answer. I hope the answer is no, right? Because ships like fighters may have quantum drives, but they probably shouldn't have jump drives.
And it would give things like the Carrack and the carriers actual use. You'd have to have one of them to transport fighters from system to system.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the new Drake Marauder
or my Idris,
or the new Drake Marauder,
my new Idris that I'm going to have very very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I really hope that we do get that soon. Solar bursts. Next item on the docket is solar bursts. Those of you who tried the Pyro Playground and the tech preview got a little taste of this.
Yeah, the solar flares are fun. They're cool. You'll like them.
They are a really cool thing. I'm excited for them. Right.
It is very intrusive. It's in your face gameplay. I'll tell you what. Just walking around on a planet, you're getting like alerts. You're like, holy.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I would like to see how you can basically buff up your ships to withstand them, because I know in the past, at least, CIG has talked about things like special shields or armor plating that can protect better against solar flares than standard issue equipment. And I hope to see that implemented around the same time. I know that the larger your shield generator, the better protection you have. Yeah, he's saying 400i triple redundancy for the win. I know that small ships with their tiny shield, their little size one bubble shields, stand virtually no chance. You get hit directly with a flare, you're disabled. You may or may not come back from that, which is good, right? You know, I think you need to take the necessary steps. Pyro is a place that is trying to kill you. Like the system itself is trying to kill you. And I'm glad that the flares continually remind you of that.
Yeah, so in my because I have no patience, you know this. So I did go to Pyro, right, when they had the previews, and I was on Bloom while some flares were happening, and it was very interesting. It was relatively safe on Bloom. I didn't really leave while the flares were going on, so I'm not really sure how it would have affected my ship and such, but it was definitely an interesting experience.
Yeah, I got caught in one of the actual flares when I was in a smaller ship, and it completely disabled the ship, and you had to completely power cycle to get back up.
What ship were you in?
I was in a Gladius. I was doing PvP.
And where in the system were you? Do you know?
I was round Pyro 3.
Okay, so you were in the inner kind of. Okay, that's not too bad, and you were able to power cycle. Okay, that's something.
The power cycle back on. It wasn't like an instant thing either. You had to like power cycle, wait, power back on, it came back.
Okay, so I think I'm okay with that. I'd like to see if repeated solar flares will disable you more long term.
Yeah, I think it should do like a component damage over time the more times you hit.
And definitely if you're closer, if you're closer in like Pyro 1.
Pyro 1, 2, and 3 are all very close to the sun, and then 4, 5, and 6 are considerably. There's like a large gap between 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So if you're on the outer planets, I think that it should be less significant, but the inner 3 most definitely. I'm just excited for the day 10 years from now when you get to be sitting there in your fucking wife beater shirt with welding goggles on, welding solar flare proof plating to your Corsair, smoking a cigarette, right? I'm excited for that. Less time to react, hide from it the closer to the star you are. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, also radiation. Solar flares are introducing radiation, which is huge. It's another part of the medical gameplay, which we touched on last week when we brought up respawning. Right, medical gameplay is going to continue to get more and more complex, and radiation is another step to that. I know that they are introducing a new drug to kind of counteract radiation, and it's going to come in its own little injector pen. I don't know if med guns are going to support it yet, but
I mean,
I'm
I would
excited for that.
imagine so.
I hope that things like radiation sickness really fuck you up.
Yeah.
Where you're like keeling over, throwing up, and you get like blisters
Yeah,
on
that
your
would be
skin
fun.
that you have to treat. And like, I hope it's
Just like
gnarly.
shaking.
Yeah, I hope it's gnarly. Moving on from there, life support and engineering. Very excited. I don't know if they have intentionally done something like a first iteration, and I don't know if you've noticed in 323, but your suit O2 gets kind of like it drains if you're not in an area with oxygen. Hell, even if you're in an area with oxygen, I've seen the suit O2 deplete. You have to like take off your helmet
Yep.
and reset. I think I hung out in area 18 for a little while, and then suddenly I got a notification that my oxygen was low. And I don't know if that's a bug or if that is like an early like fuck around. You know, oh, let's throw this in there, see how it works for life support.
I had it happen on one server. When I switched, it wasn't there. So,
oh, it's probably a bug then. Yeah. But it's neat to see like, oh, hey, I'm just hanging out and my oxygen is low.
It's not a bug. Bug is a feature.
Yeah,
early
that's
feature.
What they say, right? That's what they say. But life support, man. I hope that they. I hope that they've got a good tier 1 implementation. I'm hoping that they've got things like air tanks built in, and that you can like open them up in atmosphere and bring air in, or if you can like, I could imagine if you're in like atmosphere, you should be able to like run an air compressor to hold compressed air, and if you're at a station, you should be able to hook up and like refill your air tanks, right? And so I hope that there's things like that. I also hope that you can damage those things where you, if somebody blows out your air tank, you're like, oh fuck, put your helmet on, grab your oxy pens. I hope that this gives oxy pens a use.
I hope there's mass decompression. You can just like blow a hole in the ship and like they go flying out.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to come in. Not in tier 1 at the very least. I think I do think that there's going to be, if you open a door, you're going to lose oxygen, but it's not going to be the explosive decompression that you're thinking of.
Yeah, they might get there eventually.
Yeah,
maybe eventually.
It's the hope, because that would be like really fun, and like put like that risk in having to try and have that engineering.
Hey, we got a new follower. Thanks.
Hey, thank you, whoever that was. I just missed it.
The Crow's Nest Gaming. So.
Oh, hey, Crow's Nest, what's up? Glad to see you made it. Yeah, decompression down the ways. I'm actually getting to fire. We'll talk about that in a minute. Engineering, we got a little bit of a taste of that in Arena Commander with 323. The A2 has engineering, and technically the Gladius does, but you can do very little with the Gladius in engineering. Yeah. But we do get a taste on how it works. We've got the power supply, and it's got X amount of how do they measure it? Watts?
Yeah, I think
X amount of watts to play with, depending on how many systems you have turned on. It affects things like watt balance and how much juice is being sucked, and you can play the game, and there's batteries that you can have to charge and worry about draining. And there's it's really cool. There's like primary power systems and secondary power systems and tertiary power systems with relays and stuff. Very, very cool. Definitely more complex, and I'm excited to see how damage plays into effect. In the limited testing Rev and I were able to do, we couldn't seem to repair anything. Once a component took damage, it just took damage.
Yep.
And I think part of what they were hoping to test is they gave us tractor beams with RMC canisters so we could repair things. I think the idea is that you're supposed to be able to repair them with those RMC canisters. It just wasn't working in the PT.
Yeah, you may have to remove them to do it.
Yeah, I was thinking, because if you're trying to repair it while it's active, you might destroy it.
Maybe. I think we tried powering it on and off and doing it, but it was Arena Commander. We didn't have tractor beams. We couldn't move them out.
Badrian pointed out something in 4.0 that we hadn't mentioned, and that's fire.
I just said I'm getting there.
Oh,
You
sorry.
did.
God,
You
I was
open your
distracted
ears,
looking
Rev.
at other things. Sorry.
I know. It's okay. It's okay. Phaedron says, I think the biggest challenge will be keeping knucklehead passengers from taking fuses out mid-flight for lulls. Believe me, as someone who's been wrangling cats with the PFC for 3.5 years, absolutely the biggest
Yeah.
challenge will be
Well,
keeping knucklehead passengers.
it'll
from
be
taking
a little
fuses out
bit of a
mid-flight for
challenge,
lulls.
but if we have a proper, if we have like an officer or two on board, authorized to.
Are you kidding? The officers are going to be the ones doing it.
Of
Look,
course they are.
there's gonna be some people. You know, there's gonna be somebody you can put in charge of shooting anybody who does it, and they're gonna
Renegade.
enjoy doing that so much that
That's
nobody.
Renegade.
Yeah. It's like
Renegade,
somebody,
if you're watching, you are in charge of shooting fuse pullers. That's you. I know you'll do it because that's you don't stand for that. Moving on,
I
though.
wouldn't tempt him.
Moving on, though. Let's not.
he
get
was
into
walking
too
towards the
many
fuse box. I had to kill him.
ideas. Charge and drain. Adding the ability for players to drain, store, and charge objects with power using the multi-tool includes the ability to overcharge objects and also remove distortion damage. I don't know exactly what this means, to be honest with you. I don't know if this is in reference to the batteries that we're talking about with engineering, because like I mentioned, primary, secondary, and tertiary power supplies, right? Part of this engineering gameplay is that you have batteries which can hold reserve power. So in a situation where maybe you start getting attacked and you need to amp up shields and weapons and you're consuming more power than your power supplies are producing, your batteries take up that excess for a short period of time until they deplete. And I wonder if this is talking about being able to basically hook a battery up to your multi-tool, buzz your battery, and recharge it on the fly. That would be neat, right? It would kind of give you a chance to maintain that power level, but at the expense of manpower, which seems fine to me. I'm just curious how that's going to play out because I don't actually know what that is. It's my own speculation. You guys have any ideas?
No, we're just gonna have to wait
Cool.
and
All
see.
right. Multi-tool updates. Raising the multi-tool up to the standard from Squadron 42 with additional functionality like cutting, repair, and updates like improved handling, integrated UI, and the use of batteries to operate it. Crow's Nest, no ideas. No ideas. Do not rip fuses out, please. Anyway, multi-tool updates. This is exciting because for so long we've used things like tractor beams and we've seen like, oh, battery 0, but it works, right? Well, being that I'm like the mother of the group and I'm always staying strapped with things like extra tractor beams and med pens and tiger's claws, now I get to hold multi-tool batteries. I'm actually okay with it. I love the idea of having to prepare for every step, and multi-tool batteries is just another part of that. And I'm honestly way more excited about it than I should be. What about you guys?
You know, one of the things I'd like to see that I don't know if they've thought about it or not, maybe they have, is, you know, they've got the gun racks and you can put pistols up in the gun racks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can also put, you know, the medical guns and the multi-tools. I'd like to see them be able to say, well, all my batteries are dead. Crap. Well, I can put my multi-tool up and it'd be a charging port.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would.
You know, so that
That'd
you
be
can
amazing.
that would be
swap out
cool.
and grab a fresh one. You know, if you don't have
Although I
batteries,
think
that'd
the
be-
idea, y'all need a logistics op night, teach everyone how to fucking shop and be kidding no matter what. Phaedron, you're not
Oh.
wrong. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that in a minute.
Yeah, fuck off. I don't care. I do what I want. Man.
I think the idea, Rev, is batteries are going to be like magazines. So you just new battery, right?
Well, sure.
So I'm not sure that they'll do that. I think it's a cool idea and it'd be cool, but it would probably end up being more of a hassle to run to your armory and swap multi-tools than it would be to just
Maybe.
drop a battery, slam a new one in.
You know, there's another idea that I've got that I'm sure that they're probably not doing. You know, they have introduced the idea of like these little stations on like the mining ships, where you can build some of those cartridges and a multi-tool, right? Which makes me think if you have a ship that has material on board and on maybe they could have stations in a couple of places where you could go and like manufacture those like in Star Trek, and you got the little stations where you can like make tea and shit. If you could like go to those stations because you have some material stocked and build things that you need that you didn't plan
Fabricator.
for, that'd be cool.
So
Like
to
fabricator.
kind of say what Rev is saying in a shorter, easier way, crafting would be cool.
Well, crafting, but I'm talking,
Yeah.
yeah, crafting would be cool, but this specific instance of crafting, because crafting is clearly going to be like a specific location. Like there's going to be certain
Workbench
places, certain
type.
ships, certain you know
I can
outpost
almost
locations
guarantee
where that stuff's happening.
that they're
But
gonna have
for
like workbenches you can create.
right, but on board it would be nice, like especially large ships, if they have a location where at least one location where you could do minor crafting.
The Carrack has a repair bay that will serve that function, I believe.
Yeah. So
Maybe a Carrack owner here can chime in, but isn't that the purpose of the repair bay, is to do repair and minor crafting like that?
Yeah, it's a component workshop. It's meant to like fully repair components and stuff.
Okay,
So
well,
I think
there we
I
go.
think it could be. So yeah.
Yeah, I see no reason why the Carrack shop room couldn't do that.
That's cool.
So
Good.
yeah, it's in the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
I guess we'll see if the Polaris has something like that, if the Idris has something like that. We'll see.
I didn't see anything like that on the Idris when I did the tour, but
No.
Yeah. We'll see. It'd be cool though. It'd be cool. Fire hazard. This is what Phaedron was talking about and what Rev got excited about after I already said it. But implementing the fire hazard system, which tracks fire and temperature on static and dynamic objects. For the initial release, fire will be set up on a select few vehicles. That reads to me like some people are just going to get absolutely fucked while others are going to be able to run around willy-nilly. I imagine things like I think it's the 600i is probably going to have fire, because I think that's what all of their demos have been. The Reclaimer will probably have fire because they did some demos there. Probably the MSR. I'm just throwing out ones that I've seen them do demos on.
yeah, my impression has been anything that you can get up and run around in is potentially subject to fire.
I mean, I'd also like to see like some of the smaller ships that have interiors. So like say with the Gladius, it has some interior for the gun rack. That might catch fire, and you have to then like vent that to get put the fire out.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll get there at some point. I mentioned earlier in the stream, I'm a motorsport enthusiast, and to take a car on the racetrack, most of the time, depending on what you're doing, you have to have a fire suppression system built into the car. And so I'm imagining that there's probably going to be fire suppression systems built into cockpits of small fighters too, where if you do have something that catches fire here, which I'm sure will happen eventually, you probably go pull a ripcord and it just either it like sucks all the oxygen out and venting like you talked about, or there's fire suppression that goes off inside. But that's probably going to be like a one-stop shop where it happens once, and then you're like, okay, I need to get back to RTB so I can fix my fire suppression system before I catch on fire again. And my Gladius just turned into a cannoli. But yeah, it's very exciting. Fire extinguisher. I made the joke when the Corsair first came out. It's got fire extinguisher mounts all over the ship. But being Drake, fire extinguishers sold separately. So I'm hoping that I actually get to use the fire extinguisher mounts on the Corsair and just make sure that I am OSHA certified, have my fire extinguishers in place, clearly marked, right? Excited for that. MFD rework and new displays, rebuilding chip multifunction displays in building blocks, including new design, functionality, and customization options. Also includes a select number of updated ship HUDs, giving greater visibility, as well as manufacturer-based visual overhaul. Being a whore for Drake ships, I know that the Drake HUD is going to be one of the first ones in, because they've been talking about it for years, and I am ridiculously excited for this. In fact, I think the Drake HUD is the only one that they have shown to the public. Do you guys know otherwise?
Nope.
No, I've only ever seen the Drake.
Yeah. So excited for us Drake boys. New HUDs. I have to say, I do hope that they keep the 2D radar. I don't know what they may have changed since showing us the Drake HUD last. 2D radar is amazing.
Yeah.
I think they are going to keep it because it's kind of a throwback to the old Wing Commander and Freelancer games. And Chris Roberts is nostalgic. So I think we're keeping it. Quasi Grazer. This is the Space Cow. So we are getting the Space Cow coming in. Playing originally discovered vast plains of Quasi on Terra. I'm pretty sure that these guys are going to be coming in Microtech, maybe Bloom. We'll see. But in the CitizenCon Star Engine demo, they were on Microtech, I believe. So
it's a good planet for them.
I think so too. I don't think they do so hot on Bloom because it's mostly moss and stuff there. A couple of ferns.
Well, then also the the flares are
also the flares. But to be fair, they do kind of look like single-headed Brahmin from Fallout. So maybe they are irradiated a little bit.
Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? Additional player customization. And we're gonna get updated. We're gonna get more beards, more hairstyles, piercings, maybe tattoos in 4.0. That'll be kind of cool. And then the RSI Zeus. Only gonna get the ES, which is the base cargo variant. Then we're gonna get the luxury version. I don't even remember what that one is. And then the MR is gonna be last. Probably when they do Bounty Hunting V2 or V3 or whatever they're on. But not gonna see that for a while. And then here we're just talking about what came in 323. Oh, yeah. 323.1. Gold standard and vehicle modularity. Torpedo and cargo room for the Retaliator is the only vehicle so far that's going to have modularity. But there are some that hopefully are coming soon. I mean, my top two are Carrack and Caterpillar. I think those are both supposed to be modular, right?
Yeah, my understanding is that they're going to handle that during their gold standard pass on those vehicles. So,
gotcha.
So that's something to look forward to.
So couple years.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I think the Carrack and the Caterpillar are both in pretty desperate need of a gold standard pass.
Particularly the Carrack's elevators. They've been really
Carrack
bad
needs
recently.
it bad, man. Carrack needs it bad. I don't know if anybody
needs
here.
a bunch of things. It needs proper access, like exterior access to the cargo bays. That needs the modularity. It could just use a general pass, like just in general.
Yeah, it needs love. It is. I'm surprised it hasn't been more maintained given its popularity.
Yeah.
People love the Carrack. I mean, but you get on the Carrack and it's like an hour later you can't use the fucking elevators because they just start like stroking out. Like it's
an hour. What luck you have? And for me, it's like I go up it once, then it's done.
Yeah. Anyway, Caterpillar and Carrack both need love. So, yeah, that's true. Big ships take too long to constantly update, so they wait. I mean, you do have a point there, but fuck, dude. I mean, we need it.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that they would wait until they had all of the gameplay that's intended before they do the gold pass, right? So that's going to be the modularity. That's going to be for the Carrack. It could be even more because it's got like the drone bays. It's got a couple of features that are just not in play yet. So I think it'd be premature to expect a gold pass on.
Yeah, I think the Carrack will be probably one of the last ones to get the gold pass because of the whole the cartography room. They had to completely develop exploration for it. I think it'll be one of the last ships to get a gold pass.
I mean, maybe, right? But they're no stranger necessarily to bringing other ships up to the current gold standard. I mean, just recently they redid brought the Cutlass up to the current gold standard, right? That doesn't mean that they're not going to get passed up again. And I know the Cutlass is a relatively small ship and the updates weren't a whole lot, right? But they're no stranger to saying, oh, okay, it's been a while since we've touched this ship. Maybe not everything is in, but we can bring it up to its current standard and update it. In fact, as much as I love the Caterpillar, I would rather see the Carrack happen first, just because it's in need of love that badly. But it's my own opinion. Anyway, that's kind of what's coming up, right? They're targeting Q3 for 4.0, so that's very, very exciting. Cyberpunk and I need to get together and finish curating our Pyro playlists, and then come up with a date as soon as we can as to when we want to all get together and venture into Pyro for the first time. I hope that we have a good turnout for that because that's going to be a very exciting moment. For those of you who don't know, Cyberpunk of the Wreck Raiders was at CitizenCon, and he and Old Man Squirrel specifically waited to play Pyro because they wanted to come in and experience it all together for the first time with us. So it's going to be a big moment for us, and I'm hoping that we have a lot of people there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to joining you. Hopefully, I have the opportunity to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure out a date as soon as possible. Obviously, things like patch releases get wonky. If PTU seems stable, we may even do a PTU journey. Depending, I mean, it's all circumstantial. We'll just have to see what happens. But I'm excited. 4.0 quarter 3, as official as it can be. We're kind of getting into the Star Citizen Renaissance, and it's very special.
Right.
I think that's about it for today, though. Does anybody have anything else to add? Any last minute questions? Comments?
No, I think we just about covered it.
Good. Okay. Well, I think the next episode of Redacted is going to be 8 days from now, next Wednesday. So we'll hop in and we'll see where things are. That'll probably be just after ILW. So hopefully we're talking about the new Drake ship.
All right. Thanks for everybody dropping in.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Join the Discord.
Yep. Join the Discord. We look forward to seeing you out in the verse.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Through winding tunnels and cavernous course, here in the shadows we claim our fate. In Levski's arms we forge our stay. Under stars our banners wave, society brave, no one slave. From the markets to the barrow streets, each face you meet, a story keeps. A story keeps. Voices of Levski rise and roar, through winding tunnels and cavernous course. Here in the shadows we claim our fate. In Levski's arms we forge our stay. With hands of iron, hearts of gold, we build our dreams uncontrolled. The asteroids whisper, the cosmos calls. In Levski we stand where no one falls. Through strife and struggle we found our way, a beacon lit for the astray, a refuge for those who dare to dream. Together strong, a resolute team. Voices of Levski rise and roar, through winding tunnels and cavernous course. Here in the shadows we claim our fate. In Levski's arms we forge our stay. So here's to Levski, our home so bold. In the depth of space, our stories told. Forever free with spirits high, under the vast, unending sky. Caught in the vast, unending sky, under